$50,000 a year. On paper, that sounds like a decent salary. It's a number most people would feel okay telling their family at a dinner table. But here's what nobody tells you. In Australia right now, $50,000 a year doesn't stretch the way you think it does. And by the end of this video, you'll understand exactly why so many people earning this amount feel like they're working hard, doing everything right, and still ending each month with almost nothing left. Let's start with the truth most paychecks hide. When you earn $50,000 a year, you don't actually get $50,000. After income tax and the Medicare levy, your real take-home pay is around $43,462 a year. Break that down, and you're living on roughly $836 a week. That's the number your life actually runs on. And the moment you see that smaller figure, everything starts to make more sense. Now let's spend it, because this is where reality hits. The single biggest cost for most Australians is housing. Right now, the national median rent sits at about $680 a week. If you're renting a place on your own in a capital city, your entire weekly pay could vanish before you've bought a single thing to eat. This is exactly why so many people on $50,000 are now sharing houses well into their 30s, moving back in with family or living further and further from the city just to keep a roof over their heads. And the further out you move, the more you tend to pay in other ways. Longer commutes mean more spent on fuel and tolls, or more hours lost on trains and buses. The rent might drop, but the time and travel costs climb back up. There's almost always a trade-off hiding somewhere in the decision. Let's say you're smart about it and you split rent in a share house. Maybe you're paying $300 a week for your room. That leaves you with about $536 to cover everything else. Then come the groceries. The average single person in Australia now spends around $152 a week on food. And that's if you're careful, watching the catalogues and shopping across a few stores. Beef alone has gone up over 13% in the last year. Coffee, more than 11%. So already, between rent and food, you've spent about $452 of your $836. You have $384 left for the entire rest of your life. And the rest of your life is not cheap. There's electricity and gas. There's your phone and internet. There's transport, whether that's fuel and car registration or a public transport card. There's insurance. There are the small subscriptions that add up. And then there's everything unexpected, the dentist, the car repair, the gift you forgot about. For someone with no savings to fall back on, a single bill like this can mean reaching for a credit card and starting the whole cycle over again. By the time the essentials are paid, most people earning $50,000 are looking at maybe $100 or $150 of genuinely free money each week. Sometimes less, sometimes nothing at all. This is the part that hurts, because when you feel like you're earning a real wage, but you still can't get ahead, you start to believe something is wrong with you. You start to think you're bad with money. But you're not. You're living in one of the most expensive periods Australia has seen, where inflation is still running near 4.2%. Where rent has hit record highs and where the cost of simply existing has climbed faster than wages for years. And here's something else that makes it harder. When money is this tight, every single decision carries weight. People earning a comfortable income can make a mistake, overspend 1 week, forget to cancel a subscription, and barely notice. But on $50,000, there's no buffer to absorb the small slips. One unexpected bill can wipe out a month of careful saving. One bad week can push you into the red. That constant pressure is exhausting, and over time it wears people down. It's not just a money problem, it becomes a mental one. The stress of always doing the maths in your head, of checking your balance before you tap your card, of saying no to things your friends say yes to without thinking. That weight follows people into their sleep, their relationships, and their health. Studies have repeatedly linked ongoing financial stress to anxiety, poor sleep, and burnout, which makes it even harder to think clearly and plan ahead. It becomes a cycle that feeds itself, where the stress makes good decisions harder and the lack of good decisions deepens the stress. Yet the situation is far from hopeless, and this is the part that matters most. Plenty of Australians in this exact position earning this exact $50,000 are still managing to build real wealth over time. The difference between them and everyone else has nothing to do with luck, and it has nothing to do with some secret investment. It comes down to a handful of specific decisions repeated consistently year after year. The first decision is the one almost nobody wants to make. They control the big number. Most people try to save money by skipping their morning coffee, but your coffee is not what's keeping you broke. Your rent is. The people who get ahead on $50,000 make their biggest costs smaller. They get a housemate. They negotiate. One smart housing decision saves more money than 1,000 skipped coffees ever could. The second decision is that they pay themselves first. The moment their pay lands, before the money has a chance to disappear, they move a small amount into a separate account. Do that consistently and invest it. And over time, it grows into something that changes your life. The trick is that they never see it as spending money. It's gone before they can touch it. Even small amounts matter here because the habit is worth more than the figure at the start. Someone who saves $50 a week is building a system, and that system can scale up as income grows. The third decision is about debt. If you're on $50,000 and you're carrying credit card debt or a buy now pay later balance, the interest is stealing your future. The people who escape the paycheck to paycheck cycle attack high interest debt like their life depends on it, because financially it does. A balance left sitting on a high interest card can cost hundreds of dollars a year in interest alone. Clearing it is one of the few guaranteed returns anyone can get. And the fourth decision is the one that matters most over the long run. They focus on growing their income. There's a hard limit to how little you can spend, but there's no limit to what you can earn. The people who win on $50,000 treat that number as a starting point. They build a skill on the side. They ask for the raise. They start something small after hours. And there's one more thing these people share. They have a plan. Most people on $50,000 are flying blind. They don't actually know where their money goes. It just disappears. And at the end of the month, they shrug and hope next month is better. But the people who get ahead sit down and look at the numbers honestly. They know what comes in, what goes out, and what's left. That clarity alone changes everything, because you can't fix a problem you refuse to look at. So what is life really like on $50,000 a year in Australia in 2026? Honestly, it's tight. It demands attention. You can't drift through it on autopilot and expect to be okay. But it is not hopeless. And it is absolutely not a dead end. If there's one thing worth taking from this, it's that the salary is only half the story. What gets done with the $836 that actually lands in the account each week matters far more than the $50,000 written on the contract. Money is not just about how much comes in. It's about how much you keep, how much you grow, and how clearly you understand the game you're playing. If this gave you a new way to see your own money, do me a favor and hit the like button. If you're not subscribed yet, now's the time. And don't forget to turn on notifications so you don't miss the next one. I'll see you there.